Oh my god, he's doing it. Dark Brandon is back, guys. This is what he does. This is what he gets to do after what we did to him. The non-stop slanders, the getting ousted after winning the nomination, and having Kamala Harris, his VP, replace him, and then they lose, and they continue to slander him. Joe Biden gets to do this. Breaking news. Joe Biden pardons his son, Hunter Biden. Mind you, the charges that Hunter Biden had were for, drugs and illegally owning a gun or whatever. Nothing super, he didn't hurt anybody, right? He broke the law, didn't hurt anybody. Pretty reasonable pardon. I'm confused. What does this accomplish? Nothing. Biden's on his way out of office. His only son, his remaining son, is in prison, so he pardoned him. Why not? Trump is about to come in and run this place like a circus. Why should Biden not do that? Why shouldn't he be allowed to do that? His son's in prison for drug offenses. Is it really... Are we against the president pardoning people for drug offenses? I genuinely am not against this. You cannot gaslight me into thinking Biden did anything wrong here. He gets to do this. This is one of his fuck yous and middle fingers to the media on his way out.
Good evening. We are coming on the air with breaking news tonight. President Biden has made a decision to pardon his son Hunter ahead of the transfer of power to President-elect Donald.
Based. Fucking based. I literally was hoping when I found out that Kamala Harris had lost, one of the things that went through my mind was, I hope Joe does everything. I hope he pardons his son. I hope he codifies abortion rights. I hope he gives Ukraine nukes. I want him to just give a real hard time for Trump I want him to give Trump a real hard time when he takes office. That's what I want. And I want him to do everything he wants in his final months.
Donald Trump, according to a senior White House official with direct knowledge of the decision. He's expected to announce it later on tonight. And this comes months after Hunter Biden was convicted on gun charges back in June. That marked the first time a sitting president's child was convicted of a crime. Hunter Biden also pleaded guilty to federal tax charges in September.
That's what I like to hear. Joe Biden pardoning tax evaders and gun owners. My president. My president. The most pro-gun thing any Democrat or Republican president has done in decades. And that's not a joke.
White House officials and President Biden himself have said repeatedly that he would not, in fact, pardon Hunter before leaving office. But tonight we learned of the president's decision. Again, a reversal for him and what the White House has said President Biden would do. I want to bring in our White House correspondent, Mike Memoli, who's joining us now on the phone from Washington. Tell us more, Mike. Why did this happen and why the reversal?
Let's hear it, Mike.
Well, Hallie, this marks a reversal of what has been the public posture of the White House for months. Since the president's son was first found guilty by a Delaware jury of gun-related charges, and then later when he pled guilty to tax-related charges, the White House has insisted, including as recently as last week, that the president was not considering a pardon or a commutation of his son's sentences, which still have not, we should add, been handed down by the respective courts in which he was found guilty. But what we understand to have taken place is a series of conversations, father and son, that included just this past weekend in Nantucket. I was with the president in Nantucket this weekend. He has spent the Thanksgiving holiday there with his family for decades, but this weekend was just the First Lady.
Anyone notice how, listen, in an alternate timeline, instead of being a YouTuber, I'm in medical school right now on my path to becoming an orthodontist. And because of that, I can tell you, man's got some nice-ass teeth. He must have, implants or something, because holy fuck, he smokes crack, right? This is like how Aaron Paul, who plays Jesse in Breaking Bad, has a perfect smile, and it's like, okay, no way he smokes meth, right? He must have implants, right? These are not crack smoker teeth, unless he's just on top of that shit. I don't know. Every photo I see of him, his teeth are straight and white. Straight white male teeth.
And he has spent the Thanksgiving holiday there with his family for decades. But this weekend was just him, the First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden, his son Hunter and his family, as well as his daughter Ashley. And as the president returned to Washington to the White House last night, he began to inform White House officials of this decision that he would be making the pardon official. Now, the president has been discussing this matter with his close aides for some time, even as the White House publicly said that they were not considering this, but that this is a decision that obviously carries significant weight. And I must say, Hallie, I was at the White House today. I'm still at the White House now, as a matter of fact. We saw the president and the First Lady speaking publicly on the issue of World AIDS Day, and both of them were I was struck by the emotion in their voice as they were talking about the family having to deal with loss. Of course, we know the president lost his eldest son, Beau. He lost his first wife, Neely, in a car accident 52 years ago this month. And the emotion of the moment seemed to be particularly poignant for them. And so this is a decision obviously coming at the end of his time in office with just 51 days left before he hands off power to President-elect Donald Trump. And part of the concern that has been leading to the speculation that he would do this is about what investigations might still come. Would a Trump administration, would a Trump Justice Department continue with additional prosecutions? Would the prospect of his only remaining son going to jail, if that would be the sentence that would be handed?
That's a conflict of interest right there? No, it's not. I'm not going to let anyone gaslight me into thinking that Joe Biden did anything wrong here. Nope, I literally remember thinking on election night, honestly, fuck it. Joe should pardon his son on his way out. Fuck it, dude. He should. I'm fully in favor of this, and anyone who thinks it's bad is cringe. Joe Biden be like, well, I lost, might as well pardon my son. Yeah, why not? Why not? It's drug charges. Conservatives shouldn't be in favor of people being in prison because they had a gun and for no other reason, which is why he was in jail. He didn't hurt anybody with it, and yet he went to jail for having it. Why are conservatives cheering for this guy to be in prison? Why is anyone, really?
Down be something that would be too much for this president, for this family to bear. And so now we have the decision that has not yet been announced publicly by the White House, but which NBC News, with our colleagues.
I will say, as he gets older, he does start to look more and more like Joe Biden. I'm not going to lie. That last image there, he looks like Joe here. He looks like a young Joe. Like, in the face and the mouth here and the nose. Like, this is Joe. This is young Joe right here. The eyes even, honestly.
And so now we have the decision that has not yet been announced publicly by the White House, but which NBC News, with our colleague Carol Lee and Sarah Fitzpatrick, reporting this evening.
Mike, I know there was a bit of a sort of technical delay here, but I'm going to try again. I want to ask you this. We know that the sentencing for Hunter Biden was set to be in just a couple of weeks, December 12th and December 16th on those two separate cases. To be clear, this pardon would cover both of those convictions, right? Both the conviction and the guilty plea, yes?
Mike?
That's our understanding at this point, Hallie. But I think it is important to note that one of the things that complicates this issue is that the sentences had not been handed down just yet. And so as this reporting is just coming out, we're waiting for full information. I think it's important to wait and see what the White House puts out directly on this matter, because the paperwork for this kind of issue of a pardon of this nature does require the Justice Department to weigh in. There are officials that have to go through the process of making this official. And so the under the pardon power, this is just a way for the president to spare his son of any jail time. It's also worth noting that the denials of this have not just been coming from the White House, from the president himself. I spoke with First Lady.
I hope Joe completely owns it and doesn't try to make any excuses in the media and just says outright, like, he's my son. I have the power to pardon. Got a problem with that? I'm not going to be president in a couple months. Focus on the guy that's about to be for the next 4 years minimum. Like, who cares?
Jill Biden, just after the Delaware case was resolved and the guilty sentence came down, and I said to her, I asked her this question, that your husband has the power to spare your son of this fate, this potential jail time. Don't you wish that he could exercise this power? And she said to me that we respect the rule of justice in this country, and that was not something they were contemplating. So this has been, as the president was weighing the re-election campaign, the fate of his family was something that they considered about whether to seek a second term. As he waged that campaign, there was a number of developments in this case, including, remember, that plea that was originally meant to resolve this, in which he would plead guilty to both charges in 2023 to avoid the trial from even happening. That plea deal fell apart. He had to then go through a grueling trial. The First Lady present in the courtroom every day, almost every day during that trial. The jury of Biden's own hometown of Wilmington, Delaware, coming down with that guilty plea, and then just weeks later, the president had that fateful debate against Donald Trump. And so the story of President Biden is one in which, as he himself says, family is the beginning, the middle, and the end. And now you have the president in his final days of office taking this action, which a president has that unique prerogative, that unique power of the presidential pardon, to take this burden off of his son. It's a decision that it has been so complicated, but one that the president has ultimately decided and made after spending the last few days, this holiday period, with his.
Stay mad, Trumpers. Hunter Biden is going free. And when you're pardoned by the president, there's no putting you back away. He's got to commit more crimes if he's going back to jail. You better hope he's still doing drugs and carrying guns illegally, or he's out for good. Dude, I wonder if the right will bury this story just because they've taken an L on this and there's nothing they can really do about it, you know? Like, what's the point in even focusing on this and trying to fight Biden on it? Like, what's the point?
His family in Nantucket.
Mike Memoli, thank you very much, ma'am. We appreciate that. Let me bring in our NBC News legal analyst, Danny Savalos, who is joining us also on the phone. You heard Mike say it is a unique power. It is also an expansive one, Danny, for President Biden to issue pardons. In this case, it is NBC's reporting, at least at the moment, that it is a pardon and not a commutation. Explain the distinction here and functionally what this means for Hunter Biden moving forward.
Mike. Is he on Mars? Mike.
We're going to work on getting Danny's phone line figured out there as he is joining.
Danny. I guess his name's Danny. I thought his name was Mike. Anyway, is he on Mars?
Us now. Again, this news developing in just the last couple of minutes here. And so to reiterate to folks, according to a senior White House official with direct knowledge of the decision, President Biden has made a decision to issue a pardon for Hunter Biden, who again has faced that conviction, that guilty plea on both the federal gun charges as well as federal tax evasion charges. It is expected, it is anticipated that President Biden will make this announcement official later on tonight. Again, that pardon for Hunter Biden. I want to bring back in Mike Memoli here. So Mem, let me put that question to you that we were trying to get to Danny here. Functionally, this means presumably that Hunter Biden will not have to go to those sentencings that were set to come up just really 11 days from now and 14 days from now, coast to coast. Working out those tech gremlins here. We will, of course.
Oh, what a great end to this segment. Holy shit. Oh my god. You know what sucks about, like, left-wing media? Because you actually bring on guests that are experts in these fields. They're usually like some boomer sitting in their office somewhere with shitty internet. And so when they get brought on as a guest, you get that kind of experience. But for right-wing media, there's no experts in any fields. It's all media-trained people with lots of money. So they've got amazing teams backing their visual and audio quality and everything. So, like, Fox News doesn't have moments like this generally, unless they take, like, a random caller, I guess. But when they bring people on, you never see it. Like, it's always higher quality. There's never, like, a delay or anything. They've just got so much more money, and you can tell from the quality. And they're worse for it. They most certainly are. But, in conclusion, Joe Biden is based, Chud's molding, and I will not be gaslit into believing that Biden did anything wrong here. He is absolutely in the right to do this, and he gets to, after all the bullshit he put up with the last 4 years. Thanks for hearing my burp. I appreciate that from you guys. Anyway, if you liked this segment and you want to support me, and perhaps even help me in the algorithm, YouTube's brutal algorithm, then please consider hitting the like button and comment down below. Every thumbs up and every comment is like casting a blue ballot for YouTube to push my content out to new viewers. It really helps the channel grow. So I really appreciate it, considering it's free and it helps so much. I hope you consider it. And subscribe and ring the bell icon if you haven't already and you're new here, so that YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload. And if you want to see more from me on other platforms, you can follow my social medias, linked down below in the description of this, as well as I recommend you to follow my Blue Sky specifically. I'm getting way more active there. It's like the new Twitter. And join my fan Discord, where I host gaming events, call-in streams, or watch parties once a week on Fridays. I also announce all my new uploads and streams there, so definitely join my Discord if you want to be, like, in the core, the foundation, the pillar of my community. And finally, if you want to support me directly, you can afford it and you feel like it, and you want to help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, then please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or supporting me financially through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buying merch through the Streamlabs link down below in the description. Though regardless of how you watch my stuff, or support me, or anything like that, even if you're just a lurker, thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a good one.